Hello and welcome everyone. Access preparation, as the name suggests, allows us to have adequate access to the pulp chamber and the canals in order to perform pulpectomy, that is, removal of the pulp, and to perform the rest of the procedure of the root canal treatment. In common dental practice, it is also known as chamber opening or gaining access to the chamber. Access preparation is one of the first and one of the most crucial steps of a root canal treatment. And according to many dentists, this step decides the entirety of the treatment. Without proper access preparation, the following steps of the RCT will suffer greatly. So we will be discussing the four objectives and also the four important principles of access preparation. There are four major objectives of access opening. The first is to accomplish removal of the chamber roof and all coronal pulp tissue contained within the chamber. This is usually done by using a high-speed handpiece. Second is locating all the canals present in the tooth. Like for an incisor, it is mostly a single canal, while for a molar, it can either be 3 or 4 canals. Third is to have an unimpeded straight line access of the instruments in the canals to the apical 1/3 of the canal or the first curve of the canal if present. This allows for a proper instrumentation in the canal, adequate removal of the pulp tissue, and proper shaping of the canals. And the last is the conservation of tooth structure. Conservation of tooth structure is important for subsequent restorative treatment and long-term prognosis of the tooth. Therefore, by not extending the access preparation beyond the natural external chamber walls, it is necessary to ensure adequate and sufficient structure in the cervical region and hence to conserve as much tooth structure as possible. Now let's discuss the general principles of endodontic access opening, which are outline form, convenience form, caries removal, and toilet of the cavity. Outline form is the recommended shape for access opening to a normal tooth. For example, the recommended outline form for a maxillary molar is a triangular shape located in the mesial side of the tooth, while that for a mandibular molar is a rectangular or a trapezoidal shape. Outline form assures the correct shape and location and provides straight line access to the apical portion of the canal. Hence, the outline form must remove tooth structure that would impede the cleaning and shaping of the canals. The outline form is essentially a projection of the internal tooth anatomy onto the external tooth structure. This form can change with time. An example would be a young anterior teeth which will have a triangular access opening. In older individuals with chamber calcifications, the pulp horns are absent, so the access and the outline form becomes a void. I will be discussing the individual outline form of individual tooth in detail in my later videos, so don't worry about that for now. So the second general principle is the convenience form, which allows modification of the ideal outline form to facilitate unrestrained instrument placement and manipulation in the canals. For example, the use of a nickel titanium rotary instrument requires a straight line access. In such cases, the outline form can be modified to permit placement and manipulation of the nickel titanium instruments. Another example is a premolar exhibiting 3 roots, which is very rare. Hence, traditional recommended outline form must be modified to more triangular in order to facilitate the canal location, as locating all the canals is absolutely crucial for proper root canal treatment. Caries removal is essential for several reasons. First, removing caries permits the development of an aseptic environment before entering the pulp chamber and the radicular space. Second, it allows for assessment of restorability before treatment. Third, caries removal provides sound tooth structure so that an adequate provisional restoration can be placed. Unsupported tooth structure is also removed to ensure proper coronal seal after treatment. Finally, the toilet of the cavity involves preventing materials and objects from entering the chamber and the canal space. A common error is entering the chamber before coronal tooth structure or restorative materials have been adequately prepared and removed. As a result, these materials can enter the pulp space and may block the apical portion of the canals and create ledges and cause many problems. So it is best to properly remove caries, any prior restoration on the tooth, and any structure removal before entering the chamber. So before I end this video, let's discuss some more important points regarding access preparations. Before access preparation is started, a prior assessment of the tooth and the canal morphology should be done. This can be accomplished using radiographs. Bitewing radiographs and digital images offer the most accurate and distortion-free information on the chamber anatomy. Recent advancement in cone beam computed tomography, or otherwise known as CBCT imaging, allows three-dimensional viewing of the chamber and the radicular space. Isolation for any kind of tooth structure removal is very important, especially when it comes to endodontic procedures. Through isolation, an aseptic environment can be created, which can help to decrease the chances of failure of the treatment and also prevent the likelihood of swallowing any of the files or small dental instrument by the patient. Isolation is best accomplished using a rubber dam. Of course, there are certain conditions in which access can be prepared without a rubber dam in place in order to have a more clear vision of the tooth. But even in these cases, as soon as the chamber is located, a rubber dam should be applied. Another common question that arises in our minds is how deep one should go in order to reach the chamber. Access preparations in general should be limited to the chamber and the burr should not be used in the canals. The pulp chamber morphology dictates the design of the access preparation, and the internal chamber morphology varies with patient's age and secondary or tertiary dentine deposition. In general, pulp chamber is located at the cemento-enamel junction, hence access preparations should be limited to that. Here are some of the average access preparation depths. Of course, these are some average depths and there may be huge anatomical variations among different individuals having different teeth. Certain signs such as appearance of blood in the cavity or feeling of a sudden dip can help to distinguish whether you are in the chamber or not. And of course, one always learns with experience, so the more root canal procedures a dentist performs, the better understanding one will have of the depth of the chamber. So this was all for today's lecture. I will be discussing individual access preparations of each of the tooth types in my subsequent videos. So make sure to subscribe to my channel for the latest updates. And do visit my Patreon page where you can find practice questions, study notes, quizzes on various topics including today's lecture. I also occasionally share behind the scenes stuff over there, so consider supporting me and becoming a Patreon on patreon.com/studywithadentist. As always, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Stay safe and goodbye.